If you thought photoshopped pictures of perfect skin and body manipulation was bad for millennials, Gen Z and Alpha are about to be keeping up with the AI Joneses. I'm talking boys and girls who aren't real influencer profiles. They're pictures and posts by people that don't even exist. Pure insanity.
As this technology continues to develop, our ability to determine who is an authentic, real person that's sharing an individual thought or idea with us, or trying to connect and engage with us through their life stories, this will become increasingly more difficult to identify. We live in a time where so many of us are attracted to platforms where we're comparing ourselves to others nonstop, and we want to impress people when they scroll by and compare themselves to us.
But have you ever wondered why we can't stop comparing ourselves to others, even though it makes us all feel terrible?
In this video, we're gonna dive into the origins of comparison and how that instinct is just naturally in us.
We're also going to talk about how social media amplifies this instinct, what the hidden impacts are on our mental health, finances, and happiness, and finally, how do we break free from the comparison trap and empower ourselves to live happily in a world that has become incredibly dependent on these platforms.
If you're new here, I'm Jonas.
I'm Megan.
And we create these videos to share what we've learned in hopes that the content is helpful and has a positive impact on people's lives. You know, they say it takes a village,
so why not join ours? So this is probably not the first time that you've heard someone rant about how social media is ruining our mental health, especially teens and young adults who are basically marinating in a soup of unrealistic expectations.
So we started asking ourselves, why do we do this? Contrary to popular belief, Mark Zuckerberg didn't invent insecurity in a dorm room. This whole compare and despair loop is way older than Instagram, like pre-antibiotics old.
To me, that means comparison at its core isn't just a modern trait, but a human one that we've likely always shared.
Let's take this idea of social comparison and crank the heat up full blast, because that's basically what the internet did. We used to compare ourselves to like Steve from accounting or Becky next door. Now it's billionaires, influencers, and 12-year-olds on YouTube who own Lamborghinis. The bar went from keeping up with your neighbors to why haven't you launched a startup and skincare line by lunchtime?
And the worst part? We're comparing ourselves to people that we know nothing about. Social media gives us this perfectly polished, heavily filtered highlight reel version of their lives. Meanwhile, we're doom scrolling through their curated joyride with no idea if they're thriving or dry heaving into a toilet, because if they have to post one more video, they're gonna throw their phone into the ocean and start a new life herding goats.
When I graduated high school, social media had just started to become a thing, but it was nowhere near what it is now. According to research from data collection platform Soaks, people spend an average of about 2.5 hours on social media every day, with teenage girls actually spending closer to 3 hours a day on these platforms.
However, the analytics company Gallup showed us a much more drastic situation. What they found from a survey of over 1,500 adolescents was that teens are spending closer to 5 hours a day on social platforms, with girls averaging about an hour more than boys.
And there are many reasons this matters, from the digital addiction problems it causes to the self-control and other mental health issues that this sort of behavior seems to be a precursor to. But for the sake of this video, we're gonna try and just stay focused on comparison, because honestly, that can have a big enough influence on someone's mental health.
You see, a study by City University London found that 90% of young women edit their photos before posting. They're either applying filters or editing their photos to smooth their skin, adjust the shape of their jaw or nose, slim down their appearance, make their skin brighter or tanner, or to whiten their teeth. We've turned the casual selfie into a minor visual effects project.
And the sad thing is, none of this is surprising anymore. It's just standard. We're not taking photos to capture memories, we're crafting marketing campaigns for our personal brands. And then we doom scroll through everyone else's highlights, comparing ourselves to people who don't even look like themselves. It's a never-ending charade, like a snake eating its own tail, but with a ring light and a collagen sponsorship.
And look, We are totally guilty of this. You think our photos on our website haven't been touched up? Of course they have. It's become the standard practice within our society.
And it's not just about looks. I don't know about you, but my social media feed is basically a non-stop parade of 20-something-year-olds trying to sell me the secret to becoming a millionaire through either drop shipping, crypto, AI, selling digital hugs, like whatever. Somehow, they all look barely old enough to rent a car, but are already allegedly qualified to tell me how to build generational wealth.
So what are people in that age group supposed to feel when they scroll past and see, oh my God, this person's my age and already a millionaire with a six-pack and a startup? Or, cool, this 19-year-old just bought a penthouse and I'm 30 eating cereal for dinner and dodging calls from my landlord. This kind of content is everywhere, and the comparisons people are making over and over again are about as accurate as comparing yourself to a unicorn built out of leprechauns. It's not real. It's more like cosplay for success.
For example, I didn't know this until we started doing research for this video, but in different areas like Los Angeles, there's actually studios that you can rent out for cheap, and they're staged to make it look like you're in a private jet. And the same thing goes for luxury homes and cars that some influencers rent to make it appear as if they're riding on massive waves of success.
The point is, people only show you what they want you to see. Like right now, Jonas isn't wearing pants. You can't tell, but below this frame, it's chaos. Just incredibly pale chicken legs and misplaced confidence.
Yeah, well, you joke, but the truth is, pants are a social construct that I refuse to participate in, especially when working from home. Look, right now, the most impressionable people in our society, teens and young adults, are spending half their waking hours marinating in filtered faces, fake lifestyles, and flex culture disguised as self-help.
If social comparison theory says that we learn about ourselves by comparing ourselves to other people, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we're not getting accurate information to learn about ourselves. The window we're using to understand the world is basically a funhouse mirror curated for likes.
And if you thought people manipulating their faces and bodies in photos or renting out fake private jets, homes, or cars and pretending it's something that they earned was a little icky and insane, well...
The use of artificial intelligence is becoming more prevalent for Americans. In 2023,
AI isn't just taking over music or even writing essays. It's also entered the world of social media influencing.
you might have come across one of these influencers on your social media without realizing that not a single one of these accounts are on top.
There's a new wave of influencers that marketing companies have utilized as the target.
This girl is not real. This boy is not real. This is AI content, and these profiles are becoming increasingly more prevalent on social media. The fact is, the most influential companies in the world, whose products we all use daily, they're very invested in making this a part of our daily lives.
When it comes to social media, Meta had been experimenting with creating their own fake influencers and personalities. One example was Liv, who referred to herself as, quote, a proud black queer mama of two and truth teller. Now, not only did Liv post on Instagram, but Liv was also a chatbot, meaning that you could have conversations with her, and when interviewed through a chat, the AI actually told a Washington Post columnist that, quote, no black people were involved in its creation.
This didn't go over well, and to be honest, the initial reaction to tons of other fake Meta accounts wasn't great. It caused a huge backlash, and they've since taken down all of these AI accounts that were active since 2023. This, to me, is a sign of where things are going in regard to the type of content us and our kids can potentially be exposed to.
While Meta may have paused their production and distribution of AI creators, for the moment, this is something that a lot of individuals are experimenting with, albeit they currently need to label content with photorealistic video or audio that was digitally created, which I'm sure everyone's gonna do, right? Right? Everyone's gonna do that.
Right.
Everyone's gonna do that.
We as individuals, as parents, or honestly just as a society, we need to figure out how to navigate this. If we're going to use social media and we're going to let teens and young adults use social media where we know that they're comparing themselves to others and using these platforms to engage with the world, we should probably consider the effects of when that world that they're engaging with isn't real.
The Children's Society highlights that AI-driven advertising often targets young people with content reinforcing unrealistic beauty standards.
So there's a lot that needs to be done as we venture into this new world of digital Joneses to keep up with.
A 2025 peer-reviewed paper from researchers at the Oxford Internet Institute actually highlighted that we really need a comprehensive framework to study AI's impact on youth mental health. And they note that current research and policies are really struggling to keep up with this technology. Their paper talks about how past research and policies on social media significantly lagged behind the integration of the platforms into our society. So if we don't prioritize research, that's going to happen again with AI.
As we said before, AI is a very touchy subject, and to be clear, this is not us saying that we should or shouldn't have or use AI. We're just very specifically referring to AI-generated content that we're going to see a lot more of. And we also know that young adults and teens are very susceptible to seeing this fake content, and it's having an influence on how they see themselves.
That's at least how I think about this when I see this sort of content. I don't personally think it'd be healthy for our daughter when she's older to be in a world consuming content where people are digitally created to only represent our current society's highest standard for physical perfection.
Or look, take physical looks out of it. What lives these AI creators are living that might inspire kids to say, oh, I want that to be what my life is like. When in reality, life is not a collection of prompted good times curated on an Instagram reel.
At the end of the day, think about how comparison culture has always been there since before we were alive. Who benefits from us comparing ourselves to other people? Well, it's just my opinion, but I do think a lot of individuals and companies stand to profit from this natural human process. From the marketers that want to sell us things to the algorithms that want to keep us all scrolling endlessly.
If you feel bad, great. That means you'll buy something to fill the void. Do you feel behind? Perfect. Keep scrolling. You might be one reel away from unlocking your true potential and making millions. It's a system designed to keep us trying to catch up in a race that doesn't exist. And the more we confuse curated illusion with reality, the more we feed the machine that profits off of our self-doubt.
So how do we escape the comparison trap without faking our own deaths and starting a new life as an emotionally stable goat farmer? Well, first step, it sounds so easy and cliche, but just unplug from social media. Maybe for a full day each week, or even just a few hours a day when you have the urge to check out an app. Do literally anything else. Touch grass, call your mom, stare at a wall. Doing nothing in a world of constant engagement can actually feel very satisfying.
And if you're anything like me and you have the self-control of a caffeinated squirrel, there are apps that help, like ClearSpace, which Jonas bullied me into downloading. And honestly though, it's been life-changing. I feel like my brain came back online after being held hostage by Instagram Reels. And for the record, we have no endorsement of any kind with this company. We just genuinely appreciate how well their app works to keep us off of our phones. I have recommended it to all of my friends. One thing that the app does that I really love is that it literally makes you breathe in and out before opening TikTok or Instagram and asks if you really want to open the app. If it's just out of habit, maybe put your phone down and do something else instead.
Another thing that I've done is just take the time to clean up your feed. If someone's posts make you feel like maybe you should start a podcast where you whisper your feelings into a mason jar for 40 minutes, go ahead and unfollow, mute, or block, or do whatever's necessary to send garbage out into the algorithmic void.
And remember, social media isn't the only place to spend your time. There are platforms like Skillshare or creative communities that focus on learning and growing, not just chasing likes.
But speaking of likes, since our self-worth is irrevocably tied to how many likes and subscribers we get, can you just hit one of those buttons for us real quick? Just really quick. Just like it. Like it and then subscribe. Please. Just please. Just like and subscribe, please. Are they liking it? I mean, you saw the whole thing. You ate the whole pie. Why won't you just like the video? Just like it.
Like the video.
What the f***? Just like it.
Like us.
Like the video.
Please.
Come on!
Yeah, that was over the top.